I'm George Flynn on In-Depth TV, and we're going to take a time out today. By that, I mean you've been to football games, basketball games, baseball games. They have timeouts. And even though they're playing the game very hard, sometimes they take a timeout. Now, it could be for strategic reasons, to get in and talk about the next plays, or it could be just to give the team a rest and to refocus. So taking a timeout. Well, let's talk first about some of the things that you want, you imagine, you wish for. These are the things that, everybody says, well, just imagine this. There was a movie called The Secret, and I like the movie. I don't have anything against it. It says, just imagine this and imagine that and imagine this, and money will fall out of the sky and cars will wind up in your driveway and all kind of things. A new house will just magically appear. Well, that's the power of your imagination. And some of us just imagine. Some of us just wish for things. Have you ever wished for something? Like on Christmas, you wish for a new bicycle. Remember that? Or you could wish for something to happen. You could wish for all of these things in life. But somehow, nothing happens. And the other thing is you could amplify that wish to something that you desire, something that you want. So you can either imagine it or wish for it and have that burning desire for it, or you want it real bad, as we say. But really, that doesn't make any difference, does it? Or you can say, I'm going to take action to get something, to do something. I will do it. I will not be deterred. I will go for it. So you can either imagine it and sit back on your laurels and sit around watching the life go by, or you can really desire it. But that doesn't seem to make things happen either. A lot of people want to win the lottery, really desire to win the lottery. Well, that's not a great example, but you can't possibly win the lottery unless you go buy a ticket. You can't possibly, do something in your business unless you take action. You can see a stack of papers and you can say, I really wish those were held together. Or you can say, oh man, I wish those were held together. I really desire them to be held together. But until you take a stapler and staple that stack of papers together or get them bound together, nothing happens unless you take action. And what I'm saying is we need to get motivated every day. People say, oh man, I wish I were motivated to get out of bed every day. I really, really want it. But unless you do it, get out of bed every day and get in a good mood, and that's a whole nother topic. We'll talk about that. But you need to get some motivation every day, something to read or something to wake up to, some music or motivational speech or something to motivate you, to get you in the right mindset. Now, the mindset is great, but unless you take action, not much happens. So the mindset's fantastic. But if you'll get that way, if you'll get into absolutely making sure that you're at the top of your operation, the top of your game, people would say, then how can you motivate others? And that's your goal, is to motivate yourself so much that you motivate others. Now, for the good, we're talking about motivating people to read more, to learn more, to improve themselves more, to take care of business, as we say. If a load of wash has got to be washed, well, it's not going to wash itself. You got to put it in the washing machine or take it to the laundromat. You've got to wash the clothes, put them in the machine, and start the machine, and make sure that it's running properly. So there we are. We've got to have that imagination leading to that desire and then leading to the action. So it's a stair step, but you've got to start somewhere, but you've got to keep moving down the steps or up the steps till you take the action. So we want you to become a motivator. You put in all the time, you've lived your life, you understand what happens with people, so become that motivator that you know you can be. Now, to do this, what do you have to do? You have to be willing to change. You've got to be willing to improve. And that doesn't mean you have to change who you are or change what you are, or change where you are. You've got to be willing to improve. And by that, you can stop saying things to yourself that, like, you may have in the past said, that's so stupid. I wish I had never done that. How could I possibly? No, you've got to forgive yourself. That's the first thing. Forgive yourself. And if you're not willing to change, there's an old saying, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. Now, if you always do, the same thing you've been doing, have the Groundhog Day experience. If you always do that the same way every day, then things aren't likely to change. Not very likely to change at all, because you're doing the same thing day after day after day. And did you notice, even when I was talking with you, I was rotating the wheel, and I got into this day after day after day. You don't want to do that. You want to do something different. What do I mean by different? Well, you could actually get up on the other side of the bed. That's one thing. You could actually have something different for breakfast. You could get dressed in a different order. Don't always put on your shirt first. Don't just do things differently. You might consider driving to work or driving to the kids to school in a little bit different route, even if it's one block off. Do something a little bit different. You may find out it's more efficient. You may find out it's less efficient. If you find out it's less efficient, you say, I tried it, didn't work out, I'm not going to do that again. But if it's more efficient for you, if it works out better for you, you say, I tried it. Aren't I glad I cannot. Here's what happens with most people. They'll find out that something's more efficient, or something costs less, or some route to get somewhere is faster. You pick whatever it is. Find out it's a better thing. And rather than say, oh man, am I glad I found this better thing, most people say, I cannot believe I did that all these years just like that. And then they start beating themselves up. How could I ever have not seen this? That's where you need to flip the switch and say, aren't I glad I finally found out? And quit beating yourself up as far as, I wish I had known this. I had someone come up to me one time, and they said, I've been for years paying 10 cents for peanut butter and crackers. Ritz crackers or peanut butter, came out of a machine. And so you get 4 crackers. And then I realized for 15 cents, I could get 6 crackers. I cannot believe that I was getting 4 crackers all of these years for a dime and could have been getting 6 crackers for 15 cents. That is just a trivial example. And you've got those examples too. You go ahead and pick one out of your life. When you find something better, do it better. You don't have to continue to do things the way you've always done them, just because you've always done them that way. There's the other story about the lady that would get a pot roast, and she would always cut the ends off the pot roast and then cook it. And the husband said, "Why do you cut off all the ends of the pot roast?" And she said, "Well, that's why my mother taught me to do it. I just cut them off." And so he said, "Let's go to your mother, find out why she did it, because I've never seen it done that way." And so they went to the mother, and she said, "Well, my mother always taught me how to do it." So they said, "Well, let's go to the grandmother." So she went to the grandmother, said, "Grandmother, why do you always cut off the ends of the pot roast?" And the grandmother looked at her and said, "Well, I had to." She said, "What do you mean you had to?" She said, "The pan I was cooking it in wasn't big enough, so I would have to cut it off so it would fit in the pan." And that had been passed down, even though people had larger pans and larger ovens. That had been passed down. It's just a habit. Sometimes we get into those habits. And so what I'm telling you is it's time to take a time out to take care of you. Some things you've been doing have taken care of you very well. Some things maybe not so well. I want you to think about you. I want you to think about where you are and the things that got you to the point of where you are, the good and the bad, and the things that, what you're doing now, where you're going. Do you want to stay on the same path? Do you want to continue to do what you've always done? Are we also superstitious that we think if I change this, then something bad will happen? Well, I hope that's not you. But if it is, I'm saying try the new way. Just try it. You only do it one day. If you don't like it, don't do it again. I've tried new restaurants. Some I've said, "Man, this is my new favorite restaurant." Some I've tried out and said, "That wasn't so good. I didn't like that." It wasn't that the food was bad, it just didn't suit my taste. So it may not suit your taste, or it may be much better. And I'm suggesting that you try new things. I'm not saying you have to continue with the new actions, but at least try them. Try them once or twice. Try traveling to another city. Try anything new that you'd like. If you always get steak, try getting chicken or try getting fish on the menu. Try some new things in your life. Now, if they work, you win. If they don't work, you know not to do it again. So it's a win-win situation for you to continue to expand your capabilities and expand the possibilities and expand your life, because you don't want to be doing the same thing over and over and over again. Go ahead, try something new, and I bet that you're going to like it a lot. If you've got any comments, go ahead and email me, George@Flynn, FLINN.com. Again, that's George, GEORGE, @Flynn, FLINN.com. Look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you next time.